Whiskey.
G4 November Oscar Whiskey. How you doing there, Dave? G4 now. Nice and loud. Give us another over, Dave, and we'll see if we can hear you on the Derby as well. We're just waiting for Guy to join, so just give us an over, Dave.
Yeah, hello there. Nice to talk with you, Mark. Yeah, just been filling in all the blooming exam forms, the application for all these full candidates. I don't know. Guy doesn't think I'm getting out very well. I don't know whether you can hear me on Derby. Back to you from G4 now.
G4NOW M0 JCF can hear you, or I can see you on Derby. So at the moment you've got myself, you've got Dave G6NRH, you've got Frank G3WMR and yourself. All four of us, I can see us on the waterfall on Derby, and you're peaking sort of around 5 to 7, between 5 and 7 on the signal meter bar graph, and to me you're about a +5. Anyway, I think we're now just coming. Oh no, we've got another 2 minutes to go. Not sure if Guy was joining in, but yeah, I can hear you fine here, given that we've got a hill in between us, and I can see you on the Waterfall Derby. G4NOW M0 JCF in the group.
G0 UKN. G4NOW, yeah. Oh well, thanks for that. I find a few people who are right in line with my antennae, right in the null, don't hear me. So obviously it is getting out, but not in the right direction. I've heard Frank. He's. I think my aerial's pointed exactly at him. I've got a.
Acknowledge, Guy.
Up here, you know, a dipole thing, which is very directional, and it goes all south. Anyway, I'll let it go back to you, Mark. M0 JTF G4 now.
Yeah, G4NOW M0 JCF. Okay, Guy's now online, G0UKN. He is the net controller. I'll hand it over to him. Guy, if you've got a pen in hand and a piece of paper, the running order then is yourself, then it's me, then it's G6NRH Dave, then it's G3WMR Frank, then it's G4NOW Dave, and via social media earlier, a few people did say they would try to join in. One is in the Maidstone area, one is in somewhere in the Midlands. So I did say that I would say to you, you know, just keep your ears peeled back for any newcomers to the net. But handing it over to you now then, Guy, and if you need that running order again, I can give it to you again. G0UKN, this is M0 JCF in the Cray Valley, first Monday of the month net.
Yeah, excuse me, M0 JCF, G0UKN, very good evening all. Yeah, sorry about that. The microphone was playing up on the 101ZD, and I had to grab the microphone from the 101E and plug it in. So hopefully you can hear me all now. Looks like I'm modulating okay. Good evening all, nice to hear you. We'll give a quick call out and see who else wants to join the net. I've got that list down that you put marked, had pen and paper in front of me. And it'll be good if we're joined from some people further afield. Okay, QRZ, this is the Cray Valley first Monday of the month top band net. Anybody else want to join from G0UKN? Silence was the order of the day. Did you hear anything, Mark?
I didn't hear anything, but no, you have to know your modulation went from 5 and 9 plus 20 to, and very, very crisp, to suddenly quite muffled. And I noticed you was S9 on Derby, and when you went muffled, you dropped down to about S5, F6 on the Derby waterfall. So I don't know if you've still got a problem that may not just be the microphone. Back to you.
Yeah, okay.
No, that sounds like now you're squeezing your nose really closed and talking from the back of your throat.
Yeah, I'm at change rigs then. I've no idea. No idea at all, mate.
And it's come back crisp and clear. I wonder if you've got a dodgy wire. Anyway, as I say, I've had a good over, and I've had plenty. I haven't chatted about anything, just sort of introduced everyone, and I'm running about 25 watts out of the IC 7300 tonight, so we'll see how it goes. If you need to change rigs, the next one after me is Dave G6NRH. So if you need to change rigs or change microphones or whatever, then I'll hand it round to Dave. Back to you, Guy.
From G0UKN. Okay. Well, yeah, I can see it's funny things actually on when I'm monitoring it. So I will just change transmitters very quickly. So let's put it round to G6NRH for an over. Evening, Dave.
G0UKN, Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel in the top band Monday evening net. You're all copied there, Guy. Yeah, when you first started transmitting, your signal was really strong, 5 and 9, and as Mark said, it suddenly dropped down to nothing. I couldn't hear you after a while, but then it suddenly came back up again. I better let you know what I'm using, let everybody know what I'm using. At the moment I'm using the 857D, which is going into a N-fed 80 metre antenna, which is not the best thing in the world. The actual SWR is going all over the place, but it seems fairly constant at the moment. Using a Heritage microphone, which I haven't used for ages, and I just thought I'd give it a little burst on the top band to see how it was. Not using my usual clarity, I think, but hopefully the mic will carry it through, because it's a nice little microphone. It's a copy of the Shure microphone, the typical studio mic, all chromey, looks really nice and looks a bit rubbishy, but anyway, it looks good for what it is. With that, I suppose, are we going to pass it down the list, or do you want me to pass it straight back to you, Guy? The next on the list would be Frank. But what I'll do is I'll let you do the transfer over. Back to you, Guy. If you can give me a quick report on my audio, I'd appreciate it. G0UKN, Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel.
Yeah, G6NRH, G0UKN, and your audio's lovely, Dave. No problem at all. So I've just come back. I'm now on the IC 7300. So hopefully normal service is resumed. No idea what's going on the 101 ZD. I'll have to have a play and a listen. But you're sounding fine, and I will pass it straight on to Frank. Evening, Frank. G3WMR, G0UKN in the group.
Yeah, that's a little gap there because someone was saying break, break, break. I think it's probably Laurie. G3WMR returning to the Cray Valley top band net. Everyone's good signals. I haven't actually looked at the S meter yet, so I won't say anything other than you're all good signals, and everyone's getting through Derby at various things. I think the NRH is the strongest through Derby so far, and Guy a close second. Can you hear myself there? I turned the volume down while I'm transmitting, but I could hear Mark not ultra strong, and I could hear myself not ultra strong, but Dave and Guy coming through well through Derby. Anyway, I got out and sorted out the aerial at 4 o'clock this afternoon, having just come back from an emergency shower mending. Well, not a shower mending job because I couldn't mend it. A shower problem diagnostic job. Mina and I have both got identical or semi-identical showers. My one's got two heat settings on it, summer and winter, but both these showers have got the same footprint on the wall, but they're much smaller than anything that's currently on the market. And of course, guess what? The where the cold water feed goes in doesn't coincide with on the new ones on the market. So trying to see if I can fit a new flow cartridge in as a first cure. But it was all sprung on me late yesterday evening. There was water coming through the kitchen ceiling symptoms, so all aggro I can do without. Anyway, someone else is calling there, so I'll put it round to Guy as controller, but it should otherwise go round to Dave NOW after me from G3WMR.
Yeah, Guy, did you hear Frank pass it back to you? Okay, can't hear Guy for whatever reason on his 7300. I think if there was a break station, would you like to come back to Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Fox?
Sorry, folks, I was listening on the other transmitter, or on the other receiver, ready for the AM section. Apologies.
Yeah, no problem. I can't hear a break station, so it might be Frank was hearing Laurie. Just don't want to tread on net controller's toes, but I will hand it round to G4NOW. Over to you, Dave.
Break.
Go ahead, the break.
Yeah, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. Good evening, gents. Over.
Yeah, G4FAA, G0UKN. Evening, Laurie. You're at the bottom of the list, so taken over after G4NOW, who I'm just about to hand it to, okay?
Roger.
Around to you, Dave.
Yeah, G0UKN from G4 now in the Cray Valley top band net, and if anyone else is listening, you're always welcome to join. It's interesting that I'm getting into Derby. I'd be interested to know how I compare with other signals. It's not very good, my top band here, but it seems to be getting out and about a bit. Quietest is Laurie, about 5 and 8 here, and then followed by Frank. You are 5 and 9 plus 40, Guy. Mark 5 and 9 plus 30, and then RH is something in 5 and 9 plus 30. So all very, very good signals here. Obviously a good top band time this evening. I think I said to those out here earlier, I spent hours trying to input the 12 candidates into the clunkiest application system I've ever seen, the RSGB one. Twice I lost it, and there's no save function, and it's like a nightmare fitting in all the details. Anyway, it's gone in, money's paid, and hopefully our papers will come in time. Anyway, I'll put it round to Frank. Hope everybody's well. G4FAA from G4 now.
Now, Roger. Golf 4 NOW, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. Returning. Yes, okay, folks. Well, good evening all. I've tried an experimental top band setup this evening using the balanced output of an ATU, and it's failed miserably. So I'm back to the normal setup, which is 30-40 watts of sideband to an ATU, feeding the 80 metre G5RV. Anyway, enough of it. I'll pass it back to you, Guy. G0UKN, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha and the group, over.
Yeah, G4FAA, G0UKN in the group. Well, you're in there, no problem at all, Laurie. I can hear every word you say, so it's obviously working from that respect, but I cannot say you're a huge signal compared to everybody else. Possibly around about sort of 5 and 5, 5 and 6. Dave NRH, you're 5 and 9. Dave NOW, 5 and 9. Mark JCF 5-9 plus, and WMR 5 and 8, 5 and coming up to 5 and 9. So all good signals this evening, all armchair copies. no problem at all. And I'm not monitoring Derby at the moment. Yeah, don't know quite what's happened with the 101ZD. So I will have to play with that. What I think it probably is, I think it's nothing to do with the rig, but when I switched it on, I didn't have a lot of noise, and I woggled the coax cable where it attaches to the sort of rig control switching, and it came up and down. So gut feel is that I've got a dodgy coax connection, that it's nothing to do with the rig at all. And I just thought, hang on, that was a problem I had when I first switched it on. So I think that's what's going on there. So hopefully that is all it is, and we will, it won't be an issue. But there you go. Not a lot has been going on here radio-wise. I've been mostly, I've been concentrating on things tape deck like, and doing some more work on that. And obviously we've had the full license course, so I've been doing bits and pieces towards the first full license course now that Jota is out the way. Thank you for everybody involved in Jota. And you'll have seen probably a read up about that, or a write up about that, should I say, on in QUA that came out today. Another good episode of QUA from Bob. Right, let's see if there's anybody else wants to join us before it goes back to the top of the list, marked JCF. In fact, I'm more and more convinced now that that's exactly what the problem was. It's a dodgy coax connector where it goes in, because I did have to woggle it before I got a decent amount of noise. So I think that's the problem. Right, anybody else want to join the Cray Valley Monday Evening Net from G0UKN? Well, aren't they miserable? Okay, at least we're on our own frequency today. Right, round to you, Mark. M0JCF in the group, G0UKN.
G0UK and M0JCF in company in the group. Everyone, I'm just not listening to audio, I'm only watching the screen. Everyone, including Laurie, is being heard in Derby, so we're making the Midlands, so a little bit of Envis going on, and I would imagine that most of us are probably using Envis type antennas given where we live and the properties that we own. That's just an assumption, of course. So radio wise, actually touching radios, playing about with radios. Do you know, I haven't been on the 2 meter net for getting on for 3 months now, I don't think. But it just, just circumstances. I think to myself, Sunday morning net, and I go off and do something else. And I think to myself, do you know, I'm not going to drop everything just to jump on it. So no disrespect to people that go on the 2 meter net. I just haven't got round to it. It just hasn't been my gig at the moment. Laurie, sorry, a report for Laurie, 5 and 9 plus 10, G4NOW plus 5, G3WMR plus 15, the G6NRH plus 15, and Guy about plus 30, I would say, thereabouts. Probably one of the most strongest. And yes, you and Dave, G6NRH, probably the strongest that I've seen on the web SDR, but it's coming and going. So so I haven't been on the 2 meter net, so I haven't done a lot of 2 meters, and we've had a few lifts come up, or rather some ducting. We've had high pressure, misty mornings. I'd be very surprised if you couldn't work at least into Belgium, that sort of thing, given the pathway down the River Thames and across the water. I would imagine, for those that haven't, logged another country per se on 2 meters, always a great opportunity to get, northern France, Belgium and the southern Netherlands in your logbook on 2 meters, if that's your thing, you know, or to work repeaters a lot further afield in the UK. I normally find I can get the repeaters around the West Country very, very easy on a misty morning, that sort of thing. DX wise, well, I have been at it on DX 10 meters. Those that know me know I'm a CQer. Know I love to CQ 10, CQ 12. Lots of USA. Getting bored with USA. Oh, sorry about that. A few Canadians. Madagascar a couple of times now. All of a sudden, the Madagascar hams have come out the woodwork. Lots of Russians. During the competition, the CQ Worldwide competition, I went on that purely for selfish reasons, just to book, you know, like get in the book those countries that I haven't got, I suppose. And I managed six new countries, stroke islands. Noted ones were St. Kitts. Where else have we got? St. Kitts, Kenya, China. Now, I've never worked China before. So China, Kyrgyzstan and St. Lucia and Rodriguez Islands, which is just down off of Reunion Way, down there in the Indian Ocean. So all sort of in Madagascar area, those ones. I worked a couple of Japan, the usual Argentina, Asiatic, Russia, Uzbekistan, Qatar, you know, there are loads of countries, Puerto Rico, you know, quite a few Caribbeans that I have worked before, Aruba, you know. So anyway, so that will be a 10 meters DX. But the other thing, and of course it goes without saying, you know, all of this is upper sideband. Oh, Australia, my first East Coast Australia. Now, I've worked the West Coast quite a few times now, but I was calling CQ and I had a VK4. So that's he was in Queensland, but it really was a very difficult QSO. So yeah, we're at East Coast Australia, Antigua and what's that one? Was it Antigua and Barbuda? In it, that always catches me out. Anyway, I'm digressing from the next point. So that was all upper sideband, but I have been doing some CQ 10 meters AM. And been getting into the USA a few times, and I know just the other day myself and Guy were working 10 meters AM. Now he was using some antiquated old box, I think it was one of these old KWs, and worked the USA with that, and that I think is very special. You know, when you can take a 60-year-old piece of kit, maybe older than that, Guy will fill us in on that one, and work the USA AM. It was quite good. So I've worked the USA AM, I've worked Canada AM, and a few other people AM. I've been working 10 meters FM quite regularly into Canada, the USA. So FM is handing it over now, which is nice. And those that once again know me know I love to jump on the New York repeater. So I've been jumping on the New York repeater a few times, specifically calling for US stations or US mobile stations, only because if you don't, you'll be talking to someone in Austria or Germany or France or somewhere via that repeater, a torturous route, I'm sure. And the other repeater that I've just discovered and I've started using is the quad band repeater out of London, Ontario. And it's Victor Echo 3 Mike X-Ray VE3 MMX. And I always thought MMX, that reminded me of that old Intel processor, the old Intel CPU. They started at 166 MMX, didn't they? And got up to about 233 MMX before they dropped the MMX part of it. Was it the second level cache or something like that? I don't know. But anyway, but as for using vintage gear, no, I haven't. And in fact, I haven't even used for the last 2 weeks the old TS830S. Anyway, I thought that was quite a long over to give everyone a nosebleed, and I hand it round to you, Dave. G6 NRH from M0 JCF in the Cray Valley top band net.
M0 JCF, Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel returning. It all copied there, Mark. God dear, oh dear, I wonder where you can find the time to do everything, mate. The stations you've been working. I've been very lax when it comes to radio this week. Well, I've been very lax generally, to be perfectly honest. Julie's not feeling too well. She's got COVID. Then I had the flu, which the flu jab seems to be a total waste of time. So I was just sort of like pondering around and doing a bit of domestic engineering, as Trevor would say. So I've got that to sort out, and basically just been looking after things and trying to get things right. I've got to shoot off down to, where is it now, tomorrow morning with my daughter, going down to Moorfields Eye Hospital, and I've got to have some checks and tests apparently, because when I went to the opticians they found some discrepancies. Maybe I've got one eye missing or one ear missing, I don't know, but anyway, I've got to go down and have that sorted at 11 o'clock. Yeah, it's all good fun. Yeah, it was quite a good net on Friday. And even, well, it's quite a good net on Saturday, actually. It more was like the 80-metre net. We're all talking about our ailments and what went wrong and why we're still here and all the rest of it. And it was good fun, though. And it was just nice just to have a chin wag and just see how everybody's getting on. The same with the 2 metres as well. And shame on you, Mark, not being on 2 metres. But we've all got lives to live, and that comes first. Family always comes first. And with that, I won't waffle on too long. I'll quickly pass it over to dear old Frank. Oh, before I do that, I suppose I should really give you all your reports. And also say good evening. I haven't said anything about saying good evening to Guy, Mark, Frank, Dave, and also Laurie, which, good evening to you all, mate. Now, Guy is 5 and 9, lovely signal as usual. Mark's 5 and 9, well, he's not a stone's throw away from me. Only thing was, Dave, you're 5 and 3, which I'm using the 857D with an NFED 80 metre, which is picking up every bit of noise you can possibly imagine. So it's very hard to distinguish. But you're definitely 5 and 3, and Laurie, you're 5 and 4. It's most probably you're well above, but you're just above the noise, and that's where the problem is. But it's more my end than your end, so dear old propagation then raised its ugly head. With that, quickly pass it over to you, Frank, and we'll see how we go. G3 WMR Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel in the group.
Yeah. G6 NRH and the Cray Valley net, G3 WMR. Yeah, I can do some reports now. Guy, 5 and 9. Mark, 5 and 9. Dave, 5 and 9, that's NRH. Dave NOW, 5 and 8, unfortunately not quite making the 9. And Laurie, 20 over 9, which I'd expect because he's not very far away. But generally not too bad. Some hash type noise came up on the frequency a little while ago, but it's gone away again now. Thought it might have been someone with a fluorescent light switched on or something. It's that kind of hash. Yeah, I've had a listen around 10 meters recently. And I've heard people raving about how fantastic it is, but it's still nothing like as good as it was in the the 1960s. It was a huge amount better then. It'll never be as good as that again, I don't think. And it's not been too bad, quite impressive, and good to hear people working so many places. What was interesting is that when I was listening the other day, there was DX from far away, but also Europeans in places like Norway that I would have thought were getting a bit too nearby for DX type propagation. That's what I'd expect in the sporadic E season, but I could hear them anyway. Right. I haven't got a huge amount to say because I'm multitasking still. I'm busy looking up shower components to see if I can. What I'm going to do is actually take the water pressure cartridge out of mine and have a look at it, photograph it, and see how it compares visually with some of the ones that are on the internet for sale. Luckily, I've got an isolating valve in series with the input to the shower, so I can do what I like once the isolating valve is shut. In fact, the isolating valve I got is one of the 90-degree lever ones, not a screwdriver one. I'm not mad keen on screwdriver isolating valves because they don't tend to be as easy to operate as the ones with an external lever. I can, with my shower, which does work, it's Mina's one that's gone wrong. With my one, I can set all the temperatures and flow to how I like it normally, and then I just turn it on and off with the 90-degree isolating valve. So I know that I don't have to figure around getting it set up. Maybe it's slightly different in winter and summer, but most of the time I just have to turn the 90-degree valve, and it comes up ready set to my preferences. I don't know if Mike's listening in Crayford. I've got the company channel on in case he is. But I know he can't transmit on here currently, but he probably does listen usually. So very good evening to anyone else who's listening and can't transmit as well. So back around to Dave G4NOW from G3WMR.
G3WMR, G4NOW. Yeah, okay there. Thanks, Frank. I must say, when it comes to cartridges for showers, thermostatic cartridges, and the switch cartridges, I have one bit of advice for everybody with modern cartridges. Make certain you buy a spare, because they get very often obsolete and you end up having to change the whole valve or the whole equipment. And luckily I just had to change them all on my shower unit. It was put in 13 years ago, so I just bought a new lot, and I've decided at my age I won't buy a new lot, but if you're anywhere under 60, probably recommended to buy a complete set of everything in your house. Well, Mark, I'm staggered. I always look at your reports. You're a globetrotter. I only have one really interesting one. I think I may have told you that. I apologise if I've told you. I went on FM and I was trying out my new 2-metre aerial, and bingo, I got a bloke mobile parked up in Oxford. It was a very good copy. Transpires he was a Cray Valley member. I've forgotten his name and course on it. It's on another piece of paper. Bingo, but in the middle of it we got a call from an aviation mobile, and he was down in Sussex, and he was flying in a PA-28, and I thought it was quite incredible. They were talking up the full licence course about the new aviation mobile. Well, I find it hard to believe he was on 500 milliwatts or whatever it is, the low power. But he was loud and clear, and he had a conversation 3 ways. Anyway, that's the only interesting one. Yeah, very good QUA, and I think I like Dav's article, and it's a bit of an advert now. Thursday night, we've got a very interesting guy coming in on a Zoom meeting, Roland Smith. He's been teaching 4 or 5 of us from Cray Valley, and he's a top honcho from the CW Academy, and the idea is to, you know, talk about how it works for people, and as he describes, get people over key fright. So that's that one. Yeah, but a great QUA and excellent. Just a comment, I sat through most of the Saturday, Sunday lectures, and I just suddenly thought, what a lot of very clever blokes we have in the club, teaching and lecturing. What a good job they do. And I think, you know, the candidates really get great value for money. Where could you get such a fabulous course for so little? Anyway, round to you, Laurie, G4 FAA, G4 now.
Over to you, Laurie.
Yeah, Roger, from Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha, yes. Okay. Sadly, I couldn't really copy NOW 3, but 1 perhaps I could just tell he was there. But anyway, Sigma reports otherwise. Guy, you're slightly stronger with me than you usually are. 5 for 7, maybe 5 for 8. JCF is 5 for 9. NRH. I've got 5 for 3 here. I'm struggling a bit with you. And WMR, of course, was 5 for 9 plus at least 20, maybe more. And NOW, like I say, 3 for 1, if I'm generous. Well, not to worry. Okay, couple of things then, just to recap what I mentioned earlier. And the reason for it is that I've got involved with 60 metres lately, 5 megs. And discovered that I could work 5 megahertz spot frequencies by using an ATU and its balanced output connected directly to the 300 ohm ladder line of the 80 meter G5RV, and got involved with an Essex net on Friday. They meet at 6 p.m. on Friday evening, and good contacts all round. But I thought I'd try the same trick with top band, and it was a miserable failure. I could hear you all, but obviously you couldn't hear me. So I hastily reverted back to the old original setup, which was basically a top band ATU. XKW, funny enough, a top band ATU directly to the 80 meter T5RV. Sadly, the noise level, as always, is difficult at this shack. S7 when Dave NOW was on, and I could only just tell that there was a carrier there. But not to worry, that's life, at least over here. A quick one to you, Dave NRH. On the 4 meter net, we were talking about Moorfields, and in fact the line linking Old Street Underground Station to the hospital, in fact, is a green line, not a yellow line. The yellow lines are for the traffic. It's a green line. It's quite famous, painted off the pavement from Old Street Underground to the hospital entrance. Anyway, good luck there. It takes quite a while to go through their system. In the army, we called it circus training. You did one bit of training with one instructor, and then moved on to the next one, and then moved on to the next one, and so on. And an appointment in Moorfields is very much the same. You go from one department to another. What else have I got here? I think that's probably about it. Oh, bad news about COVID again. The XYL and myself have both been COVIDed for about 7th or 8th time, and flued, and so far, touch good, apart from catching COVID for real, 6 months ago now, we've done all right. Enough of this, Lawrence, pass it on, or rather pass it back. G0 UKN to take with a pause, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha, and the Cray Valley top band Monday evening net. Over to you, Guy.
Yeah, G4FAA, G0UKN in the group in the monthly top band net. Let's just see if there is anybody else listening to us, maybe far and wide, before we carry on and go back to the top. Anybody else want to join the Cray Valley top band net? Golf 0 Uniform Kilo November listening? Nah, they're not interested. Yeah, thank you for reminding me about the exploits on top on 10 metres, Mark. Yeah, you've had some great DX and notified a load of other people about said DX. I worked Madagascar on your recommendation with, I think I got into him second call, which I was really, really pleased with because that was a new one for me. Yeah, so was very pleased with that. Very pleased to work WIE1 SOV as well in Connecticut and have a rag chew with him on 29.01 AM. And yeah, the transmitter I was using was the KW Victor with around about 50 watts of carrier and around about just under 200 watts PEP, and I got a 5 and 9 from Connecticut. Haven't done much since, just purely around time, and I noticed that obviously the F2 propagation got up to 6 metres over the weekend, and the other one I was listening to was a chap in Ireland who posted something on Twitter, which he was listening to California Highway Patrol on FM on about 35 megs. So yeah, it's been pretty astounding compared to recent sunspot cycles. I assume we must be reaching the peak now. We've got to be, surely, because I can't see it can get much better than this. But as you say, Frank, it used to be sort of in the 60s. I don't remember, but certainly in the early 1980s. On 11 metres on a push bike with 12 watts of SSB and a little loaded quarter wave on the back of my push bike from Plumstead Common, working Americans was like shelling peas. And I used to do that a lot, so I don't think it's as easy as that, but certainly you can work into the States no problem with low power on SSB. But it really, really is good. What else was there? Sorry to hear about Julie, Dave. That's not good to have that again. We've stayed clear of it so far. This particular sort of it seems that quite a few people have had it, but we've hopefully stayed clear of it. We haven't had it, but we knowingly have anyway. But there you go. Yeah, not a lot else to add, I don't think. We will try and do a bit of AM, but I'm slightly concerned that Frank and Laurie might not be great signals on AM. Quite low down from me compared to other signals. The rest of you will be storming in on AM, but we'll go for another round or two on SSB to give them a fair crack of the whip, and then we'll perhaps have a go to AM. So I'll pass it back round to Mark. M0JCF in the group, G0UKN.
Yeah, G0UKN, M0JCF, Cray Valley group. Yeah, not a lot more to add really, other than, yeah, for me, you see, I've obviously been through many solar cycles, maybe as a pirate, and not really giving it a lot of thought. Back in the 70s, I was mainly a shortwave listener, and I didn't really take too much notice of solar cycles, but I did take notice of bands and the time of year. So I was mainly into broadcast shortwave listening, but I also got involved in listening to hams where possible, depending on the radio I had at the time. and I would get QSL cards from hams as well as the broadcast station. It's called Broadcast DXing back then, was absolutely phenomenal. And bearing in mind, I suppose I'm saying it's phenomenal, I was a teenager when I discovered it. You know, around 74, I was 11 years old. I think we've told the story many times now. That's when I started building crystal sets and shortwave listening. And so, you know, like me, you know, maybe I was clouded. It's like the hot summer of 76, isn't it? You know, we've never had a hot summer like it. Yes, we have, but the hot summer of 76, because, you know, being a schoolboy, summer holidays, all that old nonsense. Summer holidays were longer. Christmas, there was a lot more snow, and the list goes on of what didn't actually happen, I suppose. And yeah, shortwave listening and that, it was, I think, you know, broadcast shortwave listening was absolutely fantastic. And so, yeah, it wasn't until I become a pirate, I suppose, 45 metres and 11 metres was the two main bands. And, you know, that I sort of become more aware of, you know, personal propagation, because I needed the propagation to get my signal out as opposed to, you know, receiving signals. But, you know, so getting back to what I was going to say, I got my M6 in 2017, just as we was coming to the bottom of the last cycle. So, you know, I was doing what I did. And so this is the first legitimate legal cycle that I've DX'd on as a transmitter. And so for me, you know, I'm finding it very good. I'm not overly fussed about, you know, working the whole world, every single DXCC entity, but it is nice when I do get a new one, you know, and swapping a 5 and 9 and then moving on in a competition. While it's not my thing, I do it for selfish reasons, i.e., oh look, there's a country or an island I've never worked. As I say, it was quite interesting that during CQWW, that I worked a couple of China stations. Now, you know, in all the time that I've been licensed since 2017, I haven't worked China. And that competition, 10 metres, there were several Chinese there. So, you know, I've logged them. I don't know where, without looking at their call signs, I don't know where in China. I think probably Beijing. If I remember rightly, on a quick glance, they were both in Beijing. So, you know, I've worked Japan quite a few times, so it's only across the water from Japan. So distance-wise, you know, it's not a lot in it. It's you know, it's the fact that I've now worked China, and China's a huge great country, and I could work many provinces and sub-provinces and all the rest of it of China. Mongolia, I've not worked anyone in Mongolia, not heard anyone in Mongolia actually. But, you know, it's a strange old hobby when it comes to that sort of thing, because you know, people get so sometimes twisted in knots about it. I don't, you know, if I don't work certain countries for the rest of my life, I'm not really going to worry about it or fret about it. But I do know, and I am aware of some people that, you know, they've got to log an entity on every band using any means possible, you know. And no, I'm not that fussed really. But it is nice when you do it. I suppose that's the point I want to get across. Talking of people who seem to be really enjoying working anyone anywhere, is Dave M7IPY. He's doing great guns, and he's thoroughly enjoying himself. He's out there like using any antenna, building any antenna, and stealing and borrowing any antenna, you know, to make his contacts. And you know, he comes across how I was when I very first started as a transmitter. On 45 and 11 metres back in the day. So I really understand, you know, like Harry's feeling about that. And I think, a guy, you mentioned to him, didn't you, about having a mobile top band antenna. I was hoping that he was going to suddenly zip round to your QTH and borrow that one off you. and get stuck in. But obviously he didn't, or if he did, he's not using it at the moment. A few people have mentioned COVID. Interesting one, the COVID. Me and my wife both had it in 2021, just before Christmas 2021. I think my daughters had it prior to that, right at the beginning, and not really being aware that they had it. Since then, I've had a few of what I thought were common colds. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but they've all had the symptoms of my 2021 COVID. But you know, my family, we don't test for it. You know, we get the sniffles, the sore throat, the aching joints, whatever we get, but we're not testing. And I'm quite surprised the amount of people that say to me, "Oh, have you tested for COVID?" And it was no. No, I'm not. No, you know, if it's COVID, I've got it. You know, like any other nasty virus. You know, if I've got it, I've got it. I'm not too fussed about it. And I will keep away from people, whether it's a common cold or otherwise. You know, I do the decent thing and try not to spread it around. So, you know, I'm not aware that I've had COVID since 2021, and we're now 3 years later, or just coming up on the 3-year anniversary of me having it. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I thought, you know, we're on Top Band. The only other thing we haven't spoken about yet is growing tomatoes. Round to you, Dave. G6 NRH M0 JCF in the group.
M0 JCF Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel in the Cray Valley Top Band net. Yeah, all copies there, mate, yeah. I haven't been that active at all, to be honest. I was fairly active when I started, but that was mainly on 2 metres. I did have a little play on a bit of illegal CB, but not a lot. I suppose you could say I was a good boy. No, I wasn't. I was just frightened if I was going to get caught. I was the bugger that get caught. But no, then I started 2 metres, and I got disenchanted with 2 metres because I just found it a bit tedious. I did like the idea of doing HF, and eventually I did get on HF, worked a few stations, but even then I sort of switched off and eased off. I should have really carried on and be more outgoing. As you say, I listened to Dave and to an IPY. He's fantastic. He really got the bug, which is great, and he's doing what he wants to do. I like to do it when I want to, and I get to the stages where I think, oh, I've got to work this station, I've got to work that station, and I will have a go. But other times, I'm not really that bothered one way or the other. The trouble is, what happens, when I was working, I thought I could do this, I don't have to worry, I've got plenty of time to do whatever and catch up. And like everything else, being the world's greatest procrastinator, I put it all off. And then you suddenly realise as you're getting older, hold on, maybe I should really start doing something and should be doing this and doing more things. But that's me. I can't change what I am. That's just me, unfortunately. And Guy, thanks a lot for the good wishes to the missus. I really appreciate that. My daughter, I shouldn't really laugh really. My daughter's had it 5 times, and my son-in-law, I've never had it. And I've been testing every day for the last 5 days in getting prepared to go to the hospital, because Julie keeps saying, have you done your COVID test? Have you done your COVID? And I was like, oh, here we go. So I have to do it every day, and it's been clear ever since. So maybe I'm just one of those lucky buggers that are not susceptible to COVID. I don't know, but I've never had it. With that, what else was I going to say? Because I suppose you want to get back onto the AM. I'll quickly pass it over to you, Frank. And we go. G3 WMR, G6 NRH in the group.
Yep. Okay, from G3 WMR, was coming up to the AM witching hour. So I'll make this short. I've never had COVID. I only had two injections, despite my age. I drink lemon juice every day, with my herbal tea in the morning, and I think that keeps me as clear of most things as possible. I've never had a flu jab in my life. I'm only on one medicine anyway, which is prostate slowing down medicine. That's the only medicine I'm on. I've never had any statins or anything like that. It doesn't mean to say I won't take the occasional glug of indigestion stuff or something like that if I've overdone the wrong sort of food. It doesn't mean to say I won't take the occasional paracetamol, but very, very rarely. I'm not a medicines person at all. I've taken most of these things with a pinch of salt. But what I had the pneumonia jab, because I worked on the principle that what's going to get you ultimately is pneumonia, because you're going to fall over, break your hip, end up in hospital, end up getting pneumonia in hospital, and it's a one-way ticket from there on. So I figured if you can rule pneumonia out of the sequence, you're in with a chance. Same with COVID, really. I mean, you can have COVID, but if the COVID turns to pneumonia, then that's when you're in trouble. So have the pneumonia jab above all the ones that are on offer. So with that thought, I'll leave you all to it. I'll listen round, but I won't come back for the AM. Very good night to everyone. Enjoyed it. And regarding 2 meters on Sundays, I'm never really around. I'm usually going out of the door round about that time. So much I'd like to join in. We've got a Sunday routine which normally involves going somewhere for a coffee, or in summertime going to car boot sales and things. So not around. Never around for Sunday morning's not a good time for nets for me. But the Friday night, as some of you know, I'm very keen on. I like the 4 meter one, and I like this one. So very good night to everyone. Round to Dave G4NOW, G3WMR.
G3WMR, G4 now. I won't hold it too long because of the fact that Laurie can't hear me, but yeah, it's fascinating, you know, who gets COVID, who doesn't, gets this and that. Here's a one for you. A friend of mine, he's about 77, got polio. He's got it in his shoulders quite badly and very painful apparently. Not completely debilitating, but he's never had anything like it before, so that's an odd one. Do you remember we all had polio jabs? They were supposed to be lifelong. I think he'd had one. What else? Yeah, the whole sunspot cycle, the whole thing to do with propagation is a mystery. I'm amazed that I can be heard in Derby, but I can't I can't be heard by Laurie down the road a bit. But strange radiation pattern. Anyway, anything else to say? Not really. Take care, everyone. I won't come on the AM net. I'll pass it back to Laurie now. If somebody can tell him I finito. G4FAA.
Over to you, Laurie.
Yeah, Roger, from Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha. Sorry, I was half asleep there. Struggling with this perishing shack computer, which refuses to join the internet. Okay, well, I haven't really got very much to add, so, but I will stick around for the AM, give it a go. I'll use the 706 rather than the 825 and the FT7700, and we'll go on from there. Right, back to you then, Guy. G0UKNK, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha and the group, over.
Yeah, G4FAA, G0UKN, okie dokie, Laurie. So Frank has cleared and Dave now is cleared. But thank you very much both for joining the net. And I will drop carrier now. I haven't actually tuned the top band rig, so please excuse me while I just switch antennas, and then I will come up and I will have to put it on frequency, and then I will be calling all you good gentlemen, and I will obviously pass it round to Mark JCF first. So stand by all. Okay, this is Golf 0 Uniform Kilo November, just testing on AM, just moving up a little bit in frequency. Good evening all, and so it looks like I'm modulating reasonably okay. So I will pass it round to Mark M0JCS in the group G0UKN.
Yeah, G0 UKN M0 JCF. It's funny, I was watching you on the scope, and because you got quite a good signal into me, I could see your main carrier and I could see the two sidebands. You know, I've never really looked before, and it was really nice to see on the band scope your carrier and the sidebands, but your carrier was to the left of where I am. And I actually saw you tune while you was talking, and saw the carrier go dead central on my tuning bar. So that was quite interesting to watch. And the audio quality changed very slightly. Yeah, it was just just at that point I was just looking, just saw it happening, and yeah, I thought to myself, I will mention that. Looking at Derby, I can see. Right, let me not talk. Yeah, I've got a nice pink carrier, and it goes slightly darker pink when I'm talking. I'll check Derby when you're on, but I'll be very surprised if I don't hear or see rather Guy and Dave. But I'm using the IC 7300, so nothing special about this radio and nothing special about the way I'm operating it. It's just looking at the power meter, I'm sitting at about, I don't know, 10-12 watts, maybe 15 watts carrier, which all things considered, given the antenna and that I'm got, me ERP is nowhere near 32 watts, I wouldn't have thought. So round to you, G6 NRH M0 JCF. I will give you both reports from Derby as well. Over to you, Dave.
M0 JCS, Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel. Hopefully you can hear me okay on AM. Still using the same rig. You were 5 and 9 as usual, but Guy, I could hardly hear you. You were like 5 and 5. If need be, what I'll do is I'll switch on the IC 7300. And in fact, that's what I was using for the last couple of overs on upper or lower side bands, just to make sure I could hear Dave and Laurie, because I couldn't hardly hear them because they were so down in the noise. So hopefully they can all hear me now. So I better put this time in. Yeah. With that, I will say I'll pass it over to you, Laurie, because there's only 4 of us on at the moment. G4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha Golf 6 November Romeo in the group. Over to you, mate.
Over to you, Laurie. Okay, Guy, I'm not seeing a carrier or hearing anything from Laurie. Dave handed it over, I handed it over, and he hasn't come back. So I don't know if he'll hear you. You might want to give it a go. So G0 UKN, M0 JCF.
Yeah, M0 JCF, G0 UKN, and I'm just modulating this a little bit harder now. About there, I think. Yeah, just modulating it a little bit harder. So just check on. Yeah, I'm still exactly on frequency. Lorry, G4FA, oh, that's a bit too much. Lorry, G4FAA, G4FAA, are you still on frequency? G0UKN, listening? No, nothing heard at all. M0JCF, G0UKN. Yeah, fine business. Both yourself and Dave NRH, both 5 and 9, no problems at all. I would say you have much better audio than Dave, Mark, but very similar signal strength. And I think that's just a measure of what the IC 7300s are like. I think they perform very well indeed on AM. So I'm running the KW Vanguard with the Rothermel D104 microphone and listening to you all on the Giloso 209 and around about 10 watts carrier, around about 30 or 40, well, just over 30 PEP. So that's the story on this site, and I can see it whacking over to 100%. So we're certainly modulating it all right, and the grid current is just about perfect, and the PA current is just about where it should be. So even though I haven't tuned this thing up, I can see also on the band scope that I am actually modulating this thing. Let's turn the band scope up a bit. That's it, I've turned the band scope up a bit now so I can actually see what's going on. Excuse me. Okay, I'll put it round to you, Mark, and you can give Dave a report. While we've been, interestingly, while we've been chatting away this evening, I've been wiring up my spare Variac, which is a Variac I can only sort of just lift. It's a big one made by Zenith, and it was given to me by Colin, G8XDR. And I've just wired that up because one of the Caroline chaps has borrowed my normal Variac, and I want to use the Variac on the Ampex tape machine. So I've just wired it up, and it does actually work, which has pleased me no end, because I have no idea if it worked or not, because it looks like it hasn't been used in 100 years. Round to you, Mark. M0JCF, G0UKN.
Yeah, G0UKN, M0JCF returning. Variacs, I've got 2 small Variacs which are good enough for what I need. But when I was a Tesla coiler back in the day, and I used to beg, steal and borrow Variacs of various sizes, yeah, I had some monsters that getting on for sort of £100 in weight, but they would handle some awesome current, and but it all got sold on when I sort of stopped mainstream Tesla coiling with big transformers. And I'm talking, I had one out of a radar installation, 6,500 volts at half an amp. It was a monster, absolute monster. And I'd have to use a Variac on that. There was no other way of controlling the voltage on that. And of course, because of the current, I needed a big old Variac for that, and it weighed as much as a transformer. But now I just use, I used to use neon sign transformers, oil burner ignition transformers, all sorts, all sort of between 10, 9, 15 kilovolts. And all sort of between 10 and 30 milliamps. But yeah, that radar transformer was a monster. Now, if I'm going to experiment with high voltages, I use microwave oven transformers. Now, they're 2,100 volts. A half an amp, I would say. So, they're lethal, very low impedance, and, will take your fingers off if you're not careful. But I'll wire them, a bunch of them in series parallel, normally to give myself around 5,000 volts unloaded at an amp, and yeah, awesome power supplies. But yeah, Variacs, yeah, so I've got 2 small ones. So if ever you need a small Variac, just give us a knock, and I've got one, that's good for small devices, small radios, that sort of thing. You don't want to be powering up big transmitters and stuff. talking of old stuff, you know, I really should get my finger out, really, and start getting these old boat anchors and that sorted and up and running. And also my Kodar 85s. Do you remember, it wasn't so long ago, probably the beginning of this year, or was it the end of last year, I actually got I got them working, but neither of them would modulate. I suppose the modulation transformers have gone, I don't know. But Laurie FAA was telling me, you know, just use a 12-volt transformer in reverse. That'd be okay as a modulation transformer on one of those. Must get me act together, must get them going. I mean, how long have we been doing this top band net? It's been years now, hasn't it? And you know, and I still haven't used a proper vintage piece of equipment. You know, so I really should get me act together on that one. Reports wise, well, your one now, Guy, G0UKN, on my radio, you got a beautiful wide signal. You would not put Radio Caroline out of business, but you could put them to shame as an amateur. It is a nice wide signal, very distinct sidebands on it. As I say, the carrier, you know, nice and proud, but it's the distinct sidebands on AM that you know. By the way, I've videoed this as I do, and I've done a close up and that, so you can actually see it on my band scope. But of course, you're running a band scope anyway, so you can see your own. But from my point of view, compared to Dave's, now Dave's is a lot narrower. Now Dave's audio for me on AM a little bit muffled. I mean, you're both 5 and 9 plus, but Dave, you're muffled, whereas Guy, you know, yours is a nice crisp AM, and you're both being heard in Derby. Well, all three of us are. I was hoping Laurie would come up, because I'm sure we'd hear him. At the moment, I'm putting out a very nice bright pink waterfall, and looking at their meter, I'm registering about S6 on their meter. I think you and Dave, you were both brighter than me, and I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it, but you had to be 7 plus on the meter in Derby. So that's the story. Around to you, Dave. G6 NRH M0 JCF in the group.
M0 JCF, Golf 6 November, Romeo Hotel returning. Hopefully I've now changed the rig over, because I thought I had problems with the 857D, which you could say call that an old rig. I got that from new, but no way is it as old as the FT101B, but which I hopefully will get on the air at one time. Oh, now I've got the ATU started kicking in, though it's going out of fashion. Hopefully it's settled down. Anyway, yeah, everybody was all 5 and 9. Lovely signal there, Guy. Same with you, Mark. And if you can give me a report on this one, I would appreciate it, mate. I'll quickly pass it over to Laurie, see if he's around. G4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha, Golf 6 November, Romeo Hotel, in the group. Nothing heard. So I'll quickly pass it back to Guy. G0UKN, Golf 6 November, Romeo Hotel.
Yeah, from Golf 0 Uniform Kilo November. Yeah, we could definitely hear your machine gunning ATU during that over. So something wasn't a happy bunny, and it was going dun 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 during your over. Didn't lose anything you said, mind you. So I could still hear what you were saying without any problems. I don't know what's happened to Laurie. Maybe he decided to quit while he was ahead. I don't know. But I just sent you a picture of the Variac. I've just wound up and checked working, Mark. So you've got a picture of that in your WhatsApp. I'm just looking for something else to send to somebody else as well with my pictures, and I can't blooming well find it now. Where are we? But yeah, no, I've got a my main variac that I use, I've got it encased in a wooden case, and I've got something called a safe block on it, as well as a 13 amp socket, and it's in a nice wooden case. And I bought it back from India, because I'd looked at them and they were over £100 on RS's website. But I'd noticed that they were made by a company in Mumbai, and I was going to Mumbai like the following month or within weeks. And when I got out there, I said to one of the guys I was working with, who used to drive to work, I said, look, is there any chance we could get to this place, or we could contact them and see if I can just buy one from the factory? And he went, yeah, I'll ring them up for you. So, like, he found their number in the Mumbai phone book, rang them up and said, can we come down and buy one? This friend of mine's come from all the way from England and would like to buy a variac from you. And he was, yeah, happy days, come on down. And this variac, compared to being 100 quid in the UK from RS, cost me about 20 quid. And it was, I just stuck it in my case and brought it home, and that was that. And it's even got the RS branding on the knob, because they were literally the ones that they were flogging to RS and sending in crate loads to RS. Well, probably not crate loads, but the ones they were sending to RS. So, and I've had it ever since. I've actually just bought off of Fleabay one of the AC voltmeters and current meters to go on it, and I'm going to add that to the I'm going to add that to the to the wooden case. So I've got a current reading and a voltage reading without relying on the little scale. So that's the plan there, and we'll see how it goes. But no, all very good. Well, I'm glad to know I'm getting into Derby. So hello Derby on Eltham AM. This is the Cray Valley Monday evening, first Monday of the month top band net AM section. And I will drop carrier now to see before Mark, if you can leave a pause, Mark, and see if anybody else is listening and wants to join us from a Golf Zero Uniform Kilo November.
Well, there was nothing heard here, but G0 UK and M0 JCF, absolutely nothing heard here. Checking Derby on the meter, you were both 7. I'm around 5 to 6. Sometimes just like it'll flick up to 7, but I'm between sort of 5 and 6. But you and Dave were 7, maybe 7 plus. Interestingly, on the band scope on Derby, Guy, I could see your side bands on it, quite faint either side of a nice bright carrier. So you're definitely putting in the strongest signal into Derby. I can see my carrier getting brighter and dimmer. And so I'd imagine a little bit of QSB going on. Dave, on your new rig, yeah, definitely sounded better. And as I say, you were much clearer on my IC 7300 band scope. And as Guy said, I could hear the bang, 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 bang of your tuner doing its thing and attempting probably to tune or not, as the case may be. But yeah, that's it. I haven't really got a lot else to say. I think I had such long overs on LSB that really I've got not a lot more to say other than really I should sort of now. Do you know, it's 2 years today I've been retired. 2 years today, November the 4th. There you go. So in that 2 years, restoration wise, I haven't really done a lot. And I remember before I retired, I was stocking up on old radios, weren't I, to sort of future-proof the hobby in retirement, so I didn't have to spend money. I have passed some radios on now, some have gone. I did get caught by the KW bug, but I've managed to get rid of the bug. and I've just got a couple of, I've got a 2000B, I've got the 1000 linear amplifier, and I've got the I've got a Vespa, and I've got the Atlanta. That was the one I was thinking of. I nearly said Swan 350, which of course I've got one of those. But yeah, I have been moving some of them on. I did get caught by the bug, and I got a little bit, I suppose, greedy would probably not be the right word, but definitely I got, you know, to the point where I was buying anything and everything before anyone else could, and then realised that, you know, these things are going to sit on the shelf for a hell of a long time. And oh no, I have been doing some restoration actually. My summer camp FL 100B, I've been doing some work on that, and I've got the FR 100B as well. It'd be lovely to get that pair going, but we'll have to see. But I have started work on the FL 100B, and of course I've got an AR88, and I've got my Eddystone 940, both of which I haven't even powered up, and I've had the AR88 a couple of years. I've probably had the Eddystone 940 for 18 months or more. So, you know, I really need to at least get them on the bench, and like you telling me about the Variax is what reminded me. Anyway, I'll make this my last one. It's been absolutely awesome as always, because it allows me to run my gob something rotten. We did get some feedback from Nigel down in the Maidstone area. He said, you know, he knew we were here, but his noise levels was too high for you know, for joining the net. So I think he would have been in a worse position than, say, Laurie, when it comes to like hearing everyone, than then us hearing him. But there you go. As for the bloke in the Midlands, he did say that he was going to his club tonight, and he was going to check out if they had a top band antenna that he could use from the club shack. So he obviously hasn't, or didn't, or tried and didn't get in. But I've had no social media messages apart from the one from Nigel saying, you know, he tried but he couldn't. I've had no other messages back saying that anyone else had tried. So leaving the gaps was probably prudent and pertinent. Anyway, I wish you both 73. A shame Laurie couldn't join. I know Frank rarely comes on the AM section, although one night we did go on FM on top band, which was quite good. That was a first. Ticked another box, because I don't suppose that'll ever happen again. And yeah, I know Dave NOW doesn't normally join us on AM. Right, so we're 73, the pair of you. A great net as always, Guy, and always nice to hear them lovely old radios. As I say, I think they put the audio quality of the modern stuff really, really, you know, in its place. You know, all things considered, they do sound nice. Maybe it's because of all them valves, you know, the old valve sound. Anyway, the ramble and waffle over. I'll hand it round to you for the final time, Dave. G6NRH from M0JCF in the Cray Valley Top Band AM net.
M0JCF, Gold 6 November Romeo Hotel, back on the old FT 857D. I thought I'd switch it back because of all the problems I'm getting with the other one, keeps cutting in and out. But so far, you're all really nice signals. I'm running approximately up to about maybe 10 watts. You're all 5 and 9. Nice to hear you. And nice to running in the net, Guy. Really appreciate it, mate. The top band net is amazing. And I wish I could get my 857D, 85, what am I talking about, 857D? My FT101B. Working on top band, but for some reason it won't do it. It likes 80 metres, but it just will not do on top band. And I think the problem I had with the antenna was I think I had the antenna switched on the wrong aerial. I think it was on the Hustler, which is not that good. As the usual I use, if I'm using the IC 7300, is the G5RV, which seems to be a lot better. and I don't even have to tweak it, it just seems to work. But anyway, I said I won't hold it, and it's nice for this net, it's nice for other net anyway, generally. And I'll say catch you hopefully for next month for the next top band net, and we'll see how we go, and hopefully I'll get things sorted at my end. I'll quickly pass it back to you to tie the ribbons, Guy. G0 UKN Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel in the group.
Yeah, Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel, Golf 0 Uniform Kilo November returning. Well, thanks very much all for joining the net this evening and sticking around for the AM section as well. And oh, we've moved very, very slightly. Let's do that. We've gone up there now. There we go. There we go. We're back spot on frequency again. And there you go. It just wibbles about a little bit, but then again, this particular one is 66 years old, this transmitter, so can't really argue, can you? It's 66 years old, and there's probably some original valves in it. Because I haven't changed them all, and it's had some stuff changed, but not a huge amount. And it just seems to be quite happy with life. It's always just sort of once I realised what was going on with it and sorted out one or two problems, it just seemed to roll with it and just work. Okay, well, I wish everybody 73s have a very, very good week. Maybe see some of you at the club on Thursday. I am probably going to be there, but I'm sort of umming and ahhing about going to a gig instead. Between you being the gatepost. Alright, I will speak to you all soon. Have a very good evening. This is Golf 0 Uniform Kilo November in Eltham SE9, closing the monthly Cray Valley top band net and listening for any callers before I go QRT.
Yep, 73's G0 UKN Golf 6 November on the hotel. Also to Mark, M0 JCF. Fantastic evening. Bye.
Yeah, cheers, Dave, and cheers, Guy. And Guy, as a final thing, and totally unrelated to the net, what do you reckon on that Canadian in that QSL card then? As soon as I opened up the envelope, I looked at the QSL card and I had to double check the call sign on it. Back to you.
Yeah, I saw it, and now I can't think what it said. Back to you.
No, it was your doppelganger, wasn't it? Was the thing? It was a V3. What it was, he sent me. He actually requested on air because he collects paper QSL cards. Would I send him one if he sent me one? And I say I don't normally do QSLs anymore, but I will by request. And of course, he sent me one with a 2 A4 pages letter, which I haven't read yet. So I really must read that. Of course, he doesn't know that I haven't received it or read it. So, yeah, I'll read it. But yeah, it was just uncanny. I mean, it was the beard, wasn't it, really, that did it. But yeah, you got a Canadian doppelganger. He was it was a VE3. His name was Gary, spelt with a double R. And yeah, nice bloke. I had a nice long QSO with him, and it was just really funny that I took this QSL card out, and did a double take on it and made sure that the call sign didn't say G0 UKN. Back to you.
Are you getting that awful hum and another carrier break?
No, not me.
Yeah, somebody tried to break in, but all we were getting was a mains hum. I was wondering if it was Laurie, but yes, that's right. Yeah, it wasn't me. I'm not in Canada, honest. I've got somebody I work with actually. He's got a very similar beard and very similar lack of hair, and people confuse us at work, which causes endless hours of fun because we do a broadly similar job. Was there somebody trying to break in, perhaps, with a microphone issue from G0 UKN? No, nothing heard. All right, catch you all later. Cheers and beers, Mark. Thank you for coming up, and catch you further down.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Somebody's just turned on some LEDs in my kitchen because I've suddenly got very, very broadband noise. Cheers, everyone. M0JCF is now clear. I think the frequency's clear for use.